Hi, my name is Autumn Payne, and I am here with Stephen Walker again. He's a Buddhist teacher and a therapist at Middle Way Health, and we are doing a mental health interview again today. Thank you so much for joining again.
You're welcome. I like doing this.
Great. So today, I wanted to get a little philosophical with our questions today.
Okay.
It's a mental health issue, but it's kind of a big question. And that's the question about happiness. You hear a lot of people talking about the purpose of life is the pursuit of happiness. Do you agree with that? That happiness is what we should be primarily striving for in our life? Is that the ultimate goal?
Well, uh, doesn't it? Don't you have to define what you mean by happiness first? I mean,
Yes.
that's kind of a big thing. So, do you have a working definition when you use the word happiness?
That's a good question. So you're countering my question with a question.
So, yeah, sorry.
Well, here's what I mean by it.
Okay.
Some people will say, like, does having kids make you happy? And I might say, I'm not sure that was the purpose of having kids, was for me to be happy. And for life too, to feel the pressure that you need to feel happy all the time. And if you're not being successful or doing it right. Um, I almost feel like happiness is not the ultimate goal. And I wanted to see what you thought.
Um, well, I think we could define happiness as a ultimate goal. Depending upon how we define happiness, if we mean that it's, um, you know, free of some suffering that is unneeded, and we are leading a purposeful life and we're benefiting others, then we might be able to say we're happy.
Hmm.
And
But sometimes leading a purposeful life is not always a happy thing. Like it can be a lot of difficult parts to it.
well, now you're changing the meaning of happiness a little bit.
Mm.
So I would take happiness doesn't always mean we're having a pleasurable experience, or doesn't always mean um, there's everything is going great. So it's different. If you say, "Are you Are you happy?" is kind of a general, might your life in general. But then you might say, "Well, are you happy right now?" And then that brings it down to maybe the present moment. And then if you add like content, like do kids make you happy? Or are you happy with your kids? Then you're going to have different replies, I think.
Mhm.
So I, that's the hard part about the word. But we could take anything like freedom or meaning or purpose, and then uh, do the same thing, right? So broadly speaking, some people may say they're having a happy life, but they've had a lot of troubles in their happy life, right?
Mm.
Or they could
Yeah,
say,
so
"Well, I'm happy right now, but generally, I haven't had that happy a life. I'm happy right now, happy to be talking to you, or happy I'm not in jail right now, but generally, I haven't been happy, or now I'm happy, and before I wasn't." So it sometimes it's a mood, or sometimes it's meaning, and sometimes it's an overview judgment about how we see our life going or the world. So this,
mhm.
I think it's important to talk about context, and it kind of takes us up into our head. If somebody asks, "Are you happy?" and then you kind of go, "Well, what do you mean by happy?" Then
That's
then
what happened to
people,
me recently.
yeah, then people feel kind of like ripped off, like you're, playing games with them. But, um, it's really different if somebody says, "Are you happy with your meal?" I go, "Yeah, it's cooked just right, thanks." I like it. But we use the same word for, "Are you happy with your life?" It's a problem with
It's much
English. There are
different.
not that many. I guess there are a lot of English words, but we tend to kind of use just a few.
That's true. There could be a lot of different ways to express happiness. So, happiness in context of pleasure and having fun.
I think it is important to talk about happiness states and positive psychology. And of course, Middle Way Health is started to republish its online magazine called La Dolce Vita, The Sweet
Mm,
Life. So I am kind of trying to uh, put my side on the kind of positive psychology and the positive aspect of human nature where we can self-actualize, we can have a good life, we can we can actually be happy, that um, we can do more than just be stoic or be adjusted or get by or something like that.
yeah, I've noticed that push in a lot of your teachings lately
Yeah.
is an emphasis on, having that happiness or
Yeah, joy.
bliss or joy.
Yeah, so um, and not necessarily just through drugs or alcohol, or your team winning, just a natural sense of well-being and a natural sense of goodness, and that it's good to be alive.
Hmm. And sometimes that means grinding it out a bit, doing the work.
Yeah, I think life's a workout. I mean, if you compare it to gym, you could say I'm happy with my trainer and the workouts I do because I generally feel healthy, feel more alive.
Hmm.
So, I'm happy with the way my training is going, my workout. So, I think it has to be framed in that way where if it's just framed like everything's going my way and I'm in a pleasurable state, then that's okay, but that's a limited view.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And that's where I feel like that happiness police come in. That if you're not feeling pleasurable all the time, that somehow you're not doing life right, is kind of the perception I've gotten from some of the sort of like the I don't know, what would you call it? The happiness police is probably not the best description, but the constant, does this make you happy? Are you happy doing X? Are you happy doing Y? Um,
um, well, it's very California.
mm, no.
Saying, are you happy? I don't know. I think it is an important and not trivial, but you know, happiness is such a big term, and it has to be filled in with all kinds of things.
Mhm.
Obviously, if you ask someone in the middle of a tragedy if they're happy, it would be kind of weird to say I'm happy, right?
Right, that's true. Yeah. But happiness could be a general sense of well-being even when you're doing those grinding day-to-day tasks that may not be pleasurable.
Right.
So, you could
Yeah.
have that well-being while you're doing the dishes
Yeah.
or disciplining your kid
Right.
or doing your job.
Right.
So,
I can't believe that most people's lives has no tragedy or no difficulties. So if we say you can't be happy if you've had tragedy or you had difficulties, then we could say no one can be happy. So that doesn't make sense. So we have to still define things that are possible for human beings. Otherwise, it's just
mhm.
an abstract spiritual concept or a psychological concept, and I think that's sometimes a problem with people's thinking is they have this impossible ideal, but if it's an impossible ideal, it's not useful at all. So
Mm.
if we're going to use the term happiness, it has to refer to some actual lived experience.
Mhm. Well, it's built right into our Constitution, the pursuit of life, liberty no, sorry, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, right?
Yeah, and I mean, I like that. I wouldn't take it out. You know,
Mhm.
it obviously means different things to different people. This country is very polarized now, so that can mean quite a few different things.
Mhm. Yeah.
Maybe for most people it means I get to do what I want. I don't care what happens to others. You know, narcissistic happiness. Other people say I can't really be happy while other people are suffering, so I'm working to help relieve other suffering. Maybe somewhere in the middle.
Mhm.
This is a big discussion, so you know,
Yeah.
you know, it's huge.
So the important takeaway from this being to think about what your definition of it is and maybe
Yeah,
broaden it from the understanding of just pleasure.
I just want to emphasize it. For me, for the terms to mean anything or words to mean anything, they actually have to have some lived experience behind them. So it's not just an impossible ideal or a fabrication.
That makes
So
sense.
if you can't find any happy people,
Sorry. Hold on. I'm gonna unmute you. You're muted there. Mute. Mute microphone. Sorry. I think he doesn't know that he needs to unmute himself. Unmute your microphone. Hello? Sorry. Okay. Can't unmute. You're on mute there.
there we go.
There we go. Gotcha. Okay, so we were just wrapping
Call
up on that
a call
discussion.
a call came in on our technology. It's been a challenging technological day, but I'm still happy to be here.
Yes. Oh, that's a perfect ending. I like how you brought that right around. Thank you so much for that. You just did my job for me.
Okay.
That's awesome. Yeah, we have some new microphones
Yeah.
and and a little bit of adjustment there. So,
Yeah.
anyways, I thank you so much for joining on this big topic of happiness and I hope people got some ideas on how to think about it and have that perspective and maybe take some pressure off of
Yeah. Let's do it again.
defining your own life. Yeah.
Yeah.
All
Exactly.
right.
All right.
Thank you.
Ciao. Ciao.
Bye.